Salut, c'est Jocus et on se retrouve dans Vampyr. Ah merde, ils sont morts. J'avais voulu tester la porte avant que l'enregistrement commence et il y avait 2 scales. Donc du coup, ils sont morts. On va repopper. Et du coup, il y a ça que je n'avais pas encore lu. La dépendance au sang. Les vampires boivent du sang. C'est probablement leur caractéristique intrinsèque, la définition morbide de leur condition, si je puis dire. Cependant, ce n'est pas pour moi l'aspect le plus important de leur régime alimentaire. Ce qui me fascine depuis que je les étudie, c'est l'impétueuse soif de sang qu'ils semblent ressentir. Ils veulent plus que tout obtenir ce fluide, et leur désir peut même les conduire à se révéler au grand jour, et lorsqu'ils le boivent, on dirait qu'ils entrent dans un bref état de transe. C'est une révélation extatique, m'a dit un jour un Vulcode que j'avais interrogé à Moscou. Je suis convaincu que c'est un élément essentiel pour comprendre la condition des vampires. Ils ne boivent pas du sang pour se nourrir, mais pour l'extase qu'il leur procure. Les vampires présentent donc clairement une dépendance au sang. Tous, sans exception. Cela fait partie de leur nature. Et même ceux qui parmi les immortels refusent de se soumettre à leur soif et y résistent par la force de leur volonté ne seront jamais délivrés de cette dépendance. Eh ben ça promet. Mais en même temps, on s'en doutait un peu quoi. Et nous revoilà à l'extérieur. Faut pas les éviter. Ça m'intéresse pas de les retaper. Là il y en a un, il y en a un deuxième là-bas. Vraiment un troisième qui traîne. Bon. Au moins ça m'entraîne. Oh, de toute façon il m'a vu, hein. Voilà. Mangez. C'est quand même plus simple avec eux qu'avec l'esclave. Profitons. Alors par contre... On a aussi ça. Voilà, on retire le marqueur personnalisé. Et on va de nouveau essayer d'enquêter. Même si je vois pas trop ce que ça peut vouloir dire. D'accord. Eh ben putain. J'avais oublié cet élément de gameplay.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechepel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me, just downwind.
Nouvel indice.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Alors, l'église. Ouais, vous avez tous des ennuis, mais c'est tant pis. J'ai déjà du mal à soigner les gens de l'hôpital. Quand même pas m'occuper des gens de Whitechepel alors que dès que je traîne dans le quartier, ils essaient de me tuer quoi. C'est cool qu'il n'y ait pas de dégâts de chute. Ah bah il y a du monde par ici.
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
Ok. Je cherche l'infirmière.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Ok. Et tac tac tac. Bah c'est une infirmière.
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free.
Oh quel monstre.
I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Ok. Donc du coup les affaires vont pas top.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
Intéressant.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap?
Oui, à part tout ça, oui.
As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Ah, ça c'est intéressant. Pour une fois que tu dis pas de la merde. Tu vends quoi?
Right then. Show me what you have.
Bah tu vends un peu de tout, hein. Mais moi je vais surtout te vendre des choses. Voilà, de la camelote. Ah non, ça peut être recyclé. Alors, on va regarder comment ça marche. On peut recycler directement. C'est là, non, non. C'est là. Ok, donc faut le faire depuis... Ah tiens.
I should never have taken up my father's business.
Donc c'est toi le
Excuse
Cade.
me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Ça correspond pas tellement à ce qu'on m'a dit de toi.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot
Ah.
Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
Ok. Allez. Non, je sais pas. Allez, la survie.
You survive at any cost, even at the expense of others. Perhaps that's just the law of nature.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
Ah ouais.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Vous étiez potes.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you?
Joe Peterson. He's the villain here, isn't he? But you seem to know each other.
I'd known Joe for years. I saw him box once or twice. He was a friend then. But these days, he's just another thug.
Ah ah. Tiens, quelle est son histoire?
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson? Besides his behavior toward you, obviously.
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer, good one even. But after his wife passed away, he found every excuse to stop training. Just wanted to pick fights with everyone.
It's never easy to find a new path in life, especially after the loss of a loved one. But crime is certainly not the best option.
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of us don't use our fists to see us through.
Mais pourquoi tu t'es pas interposé toi,
And
par
no one
exemple?
has ever stood up to this thug.
Nobody would be fool enough to stand against a wet boot boy.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
Alors... Inconnu à inconnu. Allons parler à cet inconnu.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling, but I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor, Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick, though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Eh ben... Peut-être rencontrer quelqu'un qui en a sucé plus que moi.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her. But I know her name is Dorothea Crasionescu. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
Ok.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed, or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
Meh.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
Bon, ça,
You can
je
put
pense
your
qu'elle va
own
s'en
life
foutre
in danger,
totalement.
that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Ouais, ça je me doute, mais bon. Fallait que je pose la question quand même. Hein.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
Alors... Trouve un autre travail, c'est votre décision de vendre votre corps, je ne vous juge pas. Mais il n'y a aucun des trucs qui vous devriez essayer, elle a déjà essayé, je vous juge pas, mais en même temps, encore heureux, connard. Et c'est votre décision, en même temps, c'est une décision un peu forcée, quoi. Ou allez...
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly. But it is not your concern, Doctor.
Goodbye,
Ok.
miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Alors, toi. Oh, le curé.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Ok, ça commence bien.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Ok.
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fibre.
D'accord.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
Ok, mais tu m'as l'air d'être quelqu'un de charmant.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Je ne crois qu'au fait.
I am. But the answers I seek are based on facts, not superstition.
J'aurais dit légende.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
Ah
All
merde.
scientists
Non.
are
Quite a judge.
but you
Allez, vas-y, je vais
Well,
t'écouter quand
I
même.
suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic.
Jusque-là, tout va bien.
But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is
What do you mean?
The beast is finally
Ah,
revealing
voilà.
itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Ok. Ah, vas-y, on va remettre une pièce quand même.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What
Ce
is
serait
left?
trop simple.
Cleansing fire.
Un petit bûcher, bah oui. Allez, vas-y. Fais-moi
Tell me,
rêver.
Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher, a small-time Torquemada, the Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool.
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
Ok. Mais tu rapportes beaucoup d'expérience, toi. Sauf que t'es niveau 5, je pense que je dois pas avoir le niveau pour... J'ai l'impression que c'est un peu fait exprès, quoi. Je sais pas où est le nôtre de niveau, en fait. Il s'augmente quelque part, je sais pas. Ah, niveau de pouvoir et de charme, je suis 1. Ah, mais c'est tout pourri.
I have had enough for tonight. Goodbye.
En même temps, ce serait un peu trop simple. On pouvait entraîner n'importe qui dans une ruelle. J'avoue.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Ok. Allez. Discutons un petit peu.
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she can't find any other work. Do you believe her?
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what I want my readers to understand. We live in an intolerant and divided nation.
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that women can vote, I'm convinced things will change.
Ok. Alors... Les journaux ne parlent pas de l'épidémie.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
Ok. The shame.
It's a disgrace.
Disgrace,
People are
carrément.
left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks.
These are bad times indeed. So much for the glorious British Empire.
Et t'as pas peur ici?
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
Alors... C'est un journaliste quand même.
Science is unable to explain the facts.
On va pas
Doesn't
trop en dire.
mean there is no rational explanation.
I confess, I share your point of view, Doctor.
Et sinon, qu'est-ce que tu traînes dans les rues?
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go. to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
Ok.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Ok. Allez.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
Alors... Voilà.
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
Pas de famille.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
Ok.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Il a peut-être juste changé d'avis.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Alors... Derrière l'église. Je m'en sors pas trop mal avec cette arme. J'aime bien en fait, il fallait juste que j'oublie la finesse. C'est quoi ça ? Quarantaine. Veuillez ne pas pénétrer dans cette zone, sur ordre de la commission de santé, agent de santé publique. Ok. Grippe dégénère souvent en pneumonie. Y'a rien par ici. J'aime pas les boîtes. Méchant tonneau. Tu es seul?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant regarding this part of town, my words speak about that which the eyes cannot see.
Really? Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard Nethercott, at your service.
Ok. Alors...
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir? Do you live here?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk. Though night talks are always preferable, if you ask me. Especially with strangers.
Et t'as pas peur?
But are you not afraid of the epidemic?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu. No flesh should be saved, say the scriptures. Good or evil, rich or poor, all are equal in the eyes of the flu.
Pas faux.
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary exposure, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go boldly where the weak dare not.
Ok.
What are your thoughts on the terrible situation in this city?
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so many innocents is a tragedy. But the scourge has not been all bad for the city. Oh, no, sir.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic, quiet nowhere to be found. And now, listen to this oddly peaceful silence.
Ok.
Yes. The enjoyable silence of the grave. You have a unique perspective on the situation, I must admit.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them. But how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my feelings?
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city. I had to come, see it for myself, alone.
Qui pourrait t'aider à part moi?
If some misfortune came upon you, who would be here to help you?
Well, you for a start, my dear doctor.
Ok, ouais, bon, ça c'est un peu obvious.
I understand your need for solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, Doctor, and my family despises me.
Allez.
May I ask you a few questions about the district?
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
On va commencer par Dorothy.
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane, a nurse who lives in this vicinity.
Dorothy Crane. Oh, I love the name. The Crane of Whitechepel. Sounds very mysterious. But, sorry, no, never heard of her.
Ok. Et Darius?
What can you tell me about an old man called Darius?
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
Intéressant. Peut-être.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Oh, un truc qui brille. Ah. Cher monsieur Nethercott, merci de nous avoir envoyé votre recueil de poèmes Chant d'une ville défaite, que nous avons trouvé extrêmement intéressant et profond, comme nous vous l'avons dit la première fois que nous l'avons reçu. Malheureusement, en cette période difficile que vit notre beau pays, vous devez comprendre qu'un ouvrage avec un tel titre n'est pas décemment publiable. Comme vous refusez obstinément de changer le titre, et exiger la publication complète de votre œuvre ou rien, je suis dans le regret de vous informer que Sycophant Publishing n'a pas d'autre choix que de refuser votre demande.
Good evening, Mr. Nethercott.
Je viens de trouver un truc dans une poubelle.
Good sir. Can I be of any help?
You don't really make a living from your scribblings, do you, Richard?
No, sir, I don't. I work so hard. I put all my time, my energy, my devotion into the precise carving of words.
Alors... on va essayer ça.
Still, you don't seem to suffer from poverty.
With thanks to my parents, actually. I'm afraid I would not be able to live on my own without their help.
You seem embarrassed.
Someday I hope to proudly offer my first publication to my parents. Until that day, I'll remain the failure of a son they have to support.
Ok.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring and challenging.
Vas-y, donne-moi un exemple.
In what way, exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the barren smiles and the added hunger under the rain.
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox. The stripped humanity raged across each street.
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the poignant distress?
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you? That's what I want to write about, and that's what Whitechapel is made of.
C'est peut-être un peu morbide, non?
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful Camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much, and that's the beauty of it. She can't speak, you know. She's a locked mystery who exhales kindness and sweetness.
And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives? How she survives? Whom she may know?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be so dull, don't you think?
Ok.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with me. But will she still be my wild flower of Whitechapel if she moves uptown?
I'll leave you alone, sir.
C'est qui cette fille? Il y a beaucoup de malades ici quand même. Migraine, fatigue, bronchite, rhume, fatigue. Il y en a beaucoup qui sont fatigués. Il est où celui que je viens d'interroger? Ah, je ne sais plus qui c'est. C'est lui. Ok, elle est pas encore... Ah si. C'est juste que je l'ai pas encore rencontrée, d'accord. Mais elle est dans le quartier. Bon. Il faut que je trouve la boîte aux lettres. Peut-être essayer de trouver des habitants à qui j'ai pas parlé, non? Ça pourrait être pas mal aussi.
Would you like me to revive you?
Non. Une poubelle, parfait. Ah, je change de quartier là. Donc non. Un truc à la fois quand même. Je sais pas pourquoi on peut monter à certains trucs. Parce que franchement des fois, une fois qu'on y est, on se demande ce qu'on peut bien foutre là quoi.
Good evening, miss.
J'ai un peu bugué.
I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. but I mean you no harm, truly.
Ok.
I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it?
Allez.
Tell me about Richard Nethercott. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia.
Ah donc elle est vraiment muette.
Very well. Goodbye then.
C'est verrouillé. Un petit bouquet de fleurs dans lequel est caché un bon pour un examen médical gratuit.
Hello again, miss.
C'est vrai qu'elle est touchée, ça.
Camellia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Very well. Goodbye then.
C'est une boîte aux lettres, ça. Alors, lettre de Darius Petrescu. Mes chers enfants bien-aimés, je m'en veux tellement de ne pas vous avoir donné de mes nouvelles durant ces derniers mois. La situation ici à Londres a été des plus difficiles. Je sais que cela peut paraître égoïste de ma part et même absurde à l'heure où vous, mes enfants, vivez toujours dans un pays consumé par la guerre. Mais une guerre fait aussi rage ici même en Angleterre. Une guerre contre la pauvreté et contre l'injustice. C'est une guerre que je compte mener malgré mon âge avancé. C'est pour cette raison que je vous écris aujourd'hui. Je ne reviendrai pas en Roumanie. Cela veut sans doute dire que je ne vous reverrai pas avant de mourir. Ne soyez pas tristes, mes chéris. Vous êtes des adultes maintenant et vous avez vos propres enfants sur qui veiller. Vous savez à quel sacrifice nous devons parfois consentir pour rendre le monde meilleur. Je dois me résoudre à celui-ci pour pouvoir me sentir j'ai du mal à lire. Me sentir utile une dernière fois. Je vous souhaite une longue et heureuse vie. Embrassez mes petits-enfants de ma part et souvenez-vous que votre père vous aime, même depuis ce lointain et froid pays.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter. Darius is a bit less of a mystery now. It should not be that difficult to incite him to let me in.
Old Road. Est-ce que tu vas faire autre chose? Non, tu passes juste de peau en peau. Ok. Ce n'est pas intéressant. Ah, on peut pas... Ah bah non, j'allais dire... On peut pas se téléporter, enfin faire l'esquive pour aller plus vite. Mais c'est vrai que si on le fait devant tout le monde, ça va peut-être un peu nous griller. Je peux comprendre.
Mr. Petrescu, just 1 minute, please.
You again. Go away.
Alors... Parlons d'homme à homme, oui.
Sir, wait. Stop this nonsense. I know Nurse Crane is here. Shall we speak man to man, you and I?
All right. Speak up.
Don't you see we're on the same side? We fight to help the poor, sick, and abandoned.
I'm nothing like you, Mr. Doctor.
Yes, you are. You too believe in providing medical care without charge. You know what we have to sacrifice to make the world a better place.
I have to admit your words have conviction. All right, I'll let you see Dorothea. Don't make me regret this, though.
Faudrait que je vois quand même dans les compétences pour voir, pour augmenter mon niveau de charme. Mais bon, à terme, j'aimerais bien quand même bouffer des gens. Qui à mon sens le mérite. Bon, t'inquiète mec, hein, tu soignes des gens, mais moi je vais juste tout fouiller chez toi et tout te voler. La figure antique du Vrico Lacasse. De mes nombreux voyages, je pense que j'ai été le plus impressionné par mon exploration des îles de la mer Méditerranée, en particulier par l'île de Santorin, où je cherchais des traces de la présence de vampires sur ces terres arides. Hérodote lui-même fait allusion à cette île dans son 4e livre, et je suis personnellement convaincu qu'il reste de nombreux mystères à éclaircir dans cette partie du monde. Qui sait qu'aujourd'hui encore, certains considèrent que l'île Santorin est l'endroit le plus infesté de vampires au monde. Il y en a bien plus que dans les Carpates et ses habitants sont des experts de la chasse aux vampires, ou de la chasse aux Ricolacas, comme ils appellent cette créature. Selon la légende, le Vicrolacas est une personne morte qui ne se décompose pas et dont le teint peut être vermillon tant qu'il se rassasie de frais. Il ne peut pas entrer dans une maison sans frapper et sans y être invité. Là, il le fait fuir. Il ne se consume pas sous les rayons du soleil, mais sa peau noircit. Il peut se transformer en loup ou en d'autres animaux. Ce qui m'a le plus surpris, c'est que ce même nom existe avec quelques légères variations de la mer Méditerranée au Balkan. Les Grecs l'appellent le Rikolakos, les Bulgares et les Macédoniens Varkolak, et les Serbes Vukodlak. Oui, Vukodlak. Un terme très similaire au Vulcode que nous connaissons déjà, mes chers frères. Le simple fait d'écrire ces quelques mots me donne des frissons. Je suis personnellement convaincu que nous sommes en présence d'une sorte de proto-vampire. Peut-être est-il le chaînon manquant entre les vampires modernes et les créatures qui existaient avant eux. Si Dieu m'accorde suffisamment de temps sur cette terre, j'espère retourner un jour sur l'île de Santorin pour trouver la trace de cette créature ancienne et oubliée. Issue de boire à la fontaine du savoir.
It's locked, all right.
Mais pourquoi c'est fermé? Eh, tu me files tes clés?
If you want to talk to Dorothea, you must go across the courtyard and take the stairs.
We've not been formally introduced. May I ask your name and occupation, sir?
I am Darius Petrescu. I'm here to keep snitches and spies away from Dorothea. And I also run this little print shop.
Ok. En plus, j'ai plein de choses sur toi.
So Dorothy's real name is not Crane.
Like myself and many people in this area, Dorothea is from occupied Romania. That's all you need to know.
She seems important to the community.
More than you can imagine. The West End does not want to hear of Whitechapel's misery. Dorothea is one of the few doing something about it.
Pourquoi t'as pas publié l'autre là?
Did you refuse to publish Richard Nethercott's previous works, Darius?
Yes, his manuscript is as pompous as he is starched. Now there's a man who loves the sound of his own voice.
You could have told him so.
As a great writer recently said, politeness is the most acceptable hypocrisy.
Ok.
Tell me everything you know about Camellia, the mute florist.
I do not believe in the afterlife, Doctor, but I'm almost convinced Camellia is an angel. She volunteered to give out our medical leaflets.
Who is she, really? Do you know where she's from?
She's not from around here, that's all we know. Camellia is not even her name. It's her favorite flower.
You say she has no close family?
Well, there's that awful poet who constantly follows her around like a lost puppy. A good man for sure, but a very poor writer.
Ok.
Are you not worried for her safety?
She is as brave as she is tough, and clever too. If only I had met her when I was younger.
Are you in love with Camellia, Mr. Petrescu?
Don't be stupid. If I had met her when I was younger, we could have won our revolution.
Révolution. Allez, parle-moi de tes
Do you
enfants.
have any family left, Mr. Petrescu? Children or grandchildren?
Who knows? I have abandoned my people for so long, they might as well be dead. As dead as I am for them, I suppose.
This war won't last forever. Did you ever think of returning to your country now it's free?
No. I have taught strength and determination to my sons and daughters. I'm an old, dying man who only has memories of better times to cherish.
Raconter ma life, je vois pas ce que ça va aider, mais bon.
If you must know, my own father disappeared many years ago, and I forgave him.
It's quite awkward to talk about our families like this, but thank you, Dr. Reed. I appreciate your trust.
Alors, gnac, 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 voilà, nurse.
How did you meet Nurse Crane, Darius? Why does she trust you?
I'm her oldest friend in England. Dorothea and I share many ideas about this country and about the country we left.
You mean occupied Romania, don't you? Even if not directly, I fought against your enemies.
Really? Then perhaps you have more in common with Dorothea than meets the eye, Dr. Reed.
Allez, politique.
I know you fought for your country when it was occupied, Darius. Tell me more about it.
I know my days are numbered, and I know I won't see my homeland again. But I fought for Romania all my life, and I will until my last breath.
But Romania escaped the grasp of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It's a free country again.
But it's not the country I fought for. My homeland is not appeased, Doctor. And I still see a dark future ahead for my people.
Ok.
Goodbye, Mr. Petrescu.
Ok, bon ben, on va s'arrêter là. Avant d'aller parler à Dorothy. Ça fait déjà pas mal de temps qu'on a commencé. Du coup, on se retrouve la prochaine fois pour la suite et sûrement fin de cette mission. Allez, à plus!